Teacher Ben puts two car buyers on the board. Jake buys a $40,000 car and pays cash. Marcus buys the exact same car, but he finances most of it. Same car, same price, same income, same credit score, same 5-year period. Jake walks out of the dealership feeling like he made the adult decision. No payment, no interest, no lender, no debt. Marcus walks out with a car loan, a monthly payment, and a number that makes Jake shake his head. And most people watching this would probably say Jake won. Because for decades, the advice has been simple. If you can pay cash for a car, pay cash. Debt is bad. Interest is wasteful. A car payment is a trap. And sometimes that advice is absolutely right, but not always. Because the number that decides this decision is not just the interest rate on the loan. It is the difference between what your cash costs you when you spend it and what your cash could have done if you kept it. That is where the real math begins. For this example, Teacher Ben uses a $40,000 car. That is below the current average new car price in America, but it keeps the story realistic for a middle-class buyer. Jake has $40,000 available. He pays the full amount in cash. Marcus also has $40,000 available, but instead of using all of it, he puts $5,000 down and finances $35,000 for 60 months at 7% APR. That gives Marcus a monthly payment of about $693. Over 5 years, Marcus pays about $41,583 in total payments. That means the loan costs him about $6,583 in interest. At this point, Jake looks like the winner. He paid $40,000. Marcus paid $41,583. Same car, same 5 years. Marcus paid $6,583 more. Case closed, right? Not quite. Because Marcus did not finance the car because he wanted a payment. He financed the car because he kept $35,000 invested. And this is the part most people skip when they say paying cash is always better. Cash is not free just because you already have it. Cash has a job. If you use $35,000 to avoid a 7% loan, that money is effectively earning you 7% by saving you interest. That is not bad. But if that same $35,000 could reasonably earn more than 7% somewhere else, then the decision changes. Let's say Marcus keeps the $35,000 invested in a diversified index fund, and over the 5-year period it averages 8% per year. Not guaranteed, not promised. Just a reasonable long-term assumption for the comparison. After 5 years, that $35,000 grows to about $52,145 before taxes. That means Marcus earned about $17,145 on the money he did not hand to the dealership. Now compare that to the $6,583 he paid in interest. On paper, Marcus paid interest. But in the background, his cash was working, and that is why the monthly payment is not the whole cost. The real cost is the difference between the loan rate and the opportunity rate. If Marcus borrows at 7% and earns 8%, he is not getting rich from the difference. This is not some magical arbitrage machine, but he may come out slightly ahead while also keeping liquidity. Now let's make the comparison more fair. Jake has no car payment, so Jake could invest the same $693 every month that Marcus is sending to the lender. If Jake invests $693 per month for 60 months at 8%, he ends with about $50,923. Marcus, meanwhile, invested $35,000 up front and ends with about $52,145. The difference is only about $1,020 before taxes. That is the uncomfortable truth. At 7% financing and 8% investment returns, financing does not destroy cash. But it also does not create a massive victory. It wins by a small margin, and only if Marcus actually invests the money. Now add taxes. If Marcus invests in a taxable brokerage account, some of his gains may eventually be taxed. If he sells investments after 5 years and pays capital gains tax, his advantage can shrink dramatically. In this example, after a simplified 15% tax on gains, the difference between Jake and Marcus becomes almost nothing. This is why Teacher Ben does not say, "Always finance your car." That would be lazy. The real answer is more precise. If the loan rate is high, cash probably wins. If the loan rate is low, financing can win. If the cash would sit in a checking account earning almost nothing, paying cash can win. If the cash would stay invested and the buyer has discipline, financing can win. And if the buyer finances the car, keeps the cash, and then spends the cash on vacations, furniture, restaurants, and lifestyle upgrades, cash would have been better, because the math only works if the money actually stays invested. That is the behavioral trap. A spreadsheet assumes Marcus invests the $35,000. Real life says Marcus may look at his bank account and feel richer. He may upgrade the wheels. He may add a warranty he does not need. He may start saying yes to more things because the cash is still there. And 5 years later, he has the car loan, the interest expense, and no investment account to show for it. That version of Marcus loses badly. This is why paying cash feels powerful. It forces discipline. When Jake pays cash, the pain happens immediately. The bank account drops. The purchase feels real. There is no illusion that the car only costs $693 per month. Marcus gets the dangerous version of affordability. He gets to separate the pleasure of the car from the pain of the price. That is exactly why dealerships love monthly payments. A buyer who asks, "Can I afford $693 per month?" is easier to sell than a buyer who asks, "Should I give up $40,000 of capital for a depreciating asset?" The payment is visible, the opportunity cost is hidden, and the hidden number is usually the one that changes your future. Now let's look at the break-even point. If Marcus borrows at 7% and Jake invests the avoided payment at the same 7%, the two outcomes are almost identical before taxes. That is not a coincidence. In a clean math model, the loan rate is the hurdle rate. If your financing costs 7%, your alternative use of cash needs to beat 7% after adjusting for taxes and risk. If it does not, paying cash is usually better. If Marcus earns only 6%, Jake wins. If Marcus earns 10%, Marcus wins by a wider margin. But here's the problem. The loan rate is known. The investment return is not. The lender tells Marcus exactly what the loan costs. The market does not promise Marcus exactly what it will return. That means financing a car to invest. The difference is not just a math decision, it is a risk decision. A guaranteed 7% saved by paying cash is different from a possible 8% earned in the market. And the shorter the time period, the more that risk matters. Over 30 years, market assumptions become more reliable. Over 5 years, anything can happen. Marcus could invest the $35,000 right before a bad market cycle. He could be down when he needs liquidity, he could panic and sell, he could need the cash for an emergency. This is why the finance and invest the difference strategy is not automatically smarter. It requires 3 things most people do not have at the same time: a low interest rate, a real investment plan, and the discipline to leave the money alone. Without all 3, the strategy turns into lifestyle creep with extra steps. Now let's talk about liquidity, because this is where paying cash can quietly become dangerous. Jake pays $40,000 cash. If Jake had $300,000 in investments, and $40,000 was only a small slice of his net worth, this might be fine. But if Jake had $45,000 total, and he used $40,000 of it to buy the car, he did not just buy transportation, he traded liquidity for metal. He now has no payment, but he also has almost no cushion. If he loses his job, faces a medical bill, needs a home repair, or has to move, his money is sitting in a depreciating asset parked in the driveway. Yes, he can sell the car. But selling a car under pressure is not the same as having cash. This is one of the biggest hidden costs of paying cash. People say, "I don't want a car loan." That is reasonable. But sometimes the better question is, can I afford to make this much of my net worth illiquid? A car is useful. A car is necessary in many parts of America. But a car is not an emergency fund. A car is not a diversified portfolio. A car is not a retirement account. It is transportation, and it usually goes down in value. So if paying cash destroys your liquidity, the decision may feel responsible while making your financial life more fragile. Now let's be fair to Jake. There are many situations where paying cash is absolutely the smarter move. If the loan rate is 10%, 12%, or higher, paying cash can be a very strong choice. If you know you will not invest the difference, paying cash is cleaner. If monthly payments make you overspend, paying cash protects you from yourself. If you already have a full emergency fund, no high-interest debt, and plenty invested for retirement, paying cash may buy simplicity. And simplicity has value. Not every good financial decision needs to maximize a spreadsheet. Sometimes removing a payment lowers stress, creates flexibility, and makes your monthly budget easier to manage. That matters. But simplicity is not the same thing as automatic superiority. Paying cash is not morally better. Financing is not automatically reckless. The decision depends on the full math. Teacher Ben would draw it like this. There are 4 questions before you pay cash for a car. First, what is the interest rate? If the loan rate is higher than what your money can reasonably and safely earn, cash becomes more attractive. Second, where is the cash coming from? If it is coming from excess savings, that is one thing. If it is coming from your emergency fund or forcing you to sell investments at a bad time, that is another. Third, what would you actually do with the money if you financed? Not what the spreadsheet says, not what the YouTube comment section says. What would you actually do? If the answer is, I would invest it and not touch it, financing may make sense. If the answer is, I would probably spend some of it, paying cash may protect you. Fourth, how stable is your income? Debt creates fixed obligations. If your job is uncertain, your income is variable, or your monthly budget is already tight, a car payment can become a chain. This is where the car buying decision becomes more than math. It becomes a mirror. Jake wants certainty. Marcus wants liquidity and optionality. Jake avoids interest. Marcus tries to keep capital working. Jake's risk is draining too much cash. Marcus's risk is overestimating his discipline. Neither one is automatically smarter, but one of them is more likely to understand the full decision. Here is the rule. Do not ask, can I pay cash? Ask, what does this cash do if I do not spend it? If the answer is nothing, paying cash may be smart. If the answer is keeping your emergency fund intact, staying invested, avoiding taxes, or preserving flexibility, financing may be smarter than it looks, but only if the loan is reasonable, only if the car fits your income, and only if the difference is actually invested. The trap is not paying cash. The trap is thinking cash has no cost. And the trap is not financing. The trap is pretending a monthly payment makes a car affordable. So before you pay cash for your next car, run one number. Compare the loan rate to the after-tax return your money could realistically earn somewhere else. Then subtract the risk, then subtract your own behavior. Because in real life, the best financial decision is not the one that looks smartest at the dealership. It is the one you can still defend 5 years later. If this video helped you see a number most car buyers miss, hit like, subscribe to The Real Finance Math, and tell me in the comments, would you rather pay cash for the peace of mind, or finance the car and keep your money working?